Today, I'm issuing an audit showing that our subway tracks are overrun with rats and cluttered garbage because the MTA has failed to clean them properly. The MTA is constantly reminding riders to clean up after themselves, but they're setting a poor example by letting piles of disgusting trash pile up for months on end. The tracks have become appalling garbage dumps, and the MTA has failed to clean them according to their own standards. 97% of stations were cleaned less than the MTA's own standard of cleaning once every 3 weeks. At the Atlantic Avenue Barclays Center station, 2 tracks weren't visited at all by cleaners for 4 months. Vacuum trains break and don't always work. New York City Transit owns 2 specialized trains that vacuum garbage off the tracks. But one of them was out of service for 311 out of 365 days we examined. And even when it was running, auditors found 70% of the time the same debris was on the tracks before and after the train passed through. So they're actually using a subway train cleaner that doesn't work and doesn't pick up the debris. The MTA has a program called Fast Track that closes stations to do repairs all at once. However, our auditors found that the closed stations that are in most need of work were not getting the painting they needed. 31 out of 39 stations closed for Fast Track had peeling paint, but only 7 got full-scale paint jobs. While that was happening, stations that received a good rating for paint got more paint. All of this is outrageous and unacceptable. I want to take you through the numbers. Ridership is at the highest level in 65 years. Fares just went up again in March. Overall revenue for the subway has increased by 34% from 2008 to 2013. But during that same period, the percentage of revenue the MTA spends on station maintenance and cleaning declined, and the track cleaning workforce was slashed by nearly 50%. So revenues go up, track cleaning goes down, and we have to pay the price. Now, we're here today at East Broadway, where you can head downstairs and see for yourself the piles of garbage that have accumulated on subway tracks and paint peeling, along with the mold growing on the walls. For me, it's like a terrible throwback Thursday to the 1970s when these appalling conditions were widespread. They were commonplace. For those of us who grew up here back then, the train system was on the verge of collapse. And a lot of the issues we identified in the audit were all about a different era in this city. Now, our auditors actually observed rats scurrying over the tracks and onto the platforms. It's almost as if they were walking upright, waiting to take the train to their next feeding. Rats on the platforms in 2015. Now, I just want to be clear. We can't just shrug our shoulders and allow these conditions to become part of the daily commute and part of the subway narrative. The MTA has a responsibility to give us clean subways, and they've got to fix this now. So we recommended to the agency the following. You have to allocate more funds to maintenance and cleanliness. You got to buy better, more effective vacuum cars. Why are you keeping in service vacuum cars that aren't vacuuming? It makes no sense. We have to develop and stick to a system of cleaning tracks on a regular basis, and we have to increase the number of painters so they can target the stations that need the repairs the most. Now, the good news is the MTA agreed to our recommendations. That's a good start, but the problem can't be ignored any longer. The truth is, talk is cheap. This audit shows a profound problem with our subway system. We're a world-class city. We're compared to other big cities. We compare our subway systems. And yes, a clean, efficient subway ride matters for the economy of this city. It brings more tourists here. It speaks to a level of maturity for our government. The fact that we recognize that a commute is critical to the economy. And that is why we released this report. We release it with a sense of outrage. We've got to get rid of the rats and get rid of the garbage. We can't go back to a different era in the city. We're going to come back to the MTA audit and hold them accountable. There's a great debate going on between the city and Albany in terms of funding, but I have to tell you, everyone's got to get their act together and come back to the subway stations, look at these tracks, look at the mold in the system, and let's clean it up once and for all.